right, once again, we're on live and direct. Actually, we're not really live. Whenever y'all watch this, it's not going to be live, but it's going to be live for us. But it's Mr. Vincent himself from the Mr. Vincent podcast and the man of all great trades, of course. And I'll let him plug that in. I let him plug it in every single time because I know y'all need this man this summer when you got all these graduation parties, birthday parties.
Facts.
Shit, if you need somebody to jump in as a guest on your podcast, I'm sure he has a lot of insight. But that's E-Man from the Mr. Vincent podcast. Thank you for joining me again, bro. As we have been doing the whole NBA season, of course.
You are.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem, man.
We'll just get the episode started with just a quick. I'm not going to even waste people's time with a recap of the last round. We all know the outcome by now, unless you been living in space or something, or you just don't got a flip phone, or you don't got no cable, or you don't have any means of Wi-Fi. I don't know what to tell you. You should already know the final four of the NBA playoffs right now. But as we all know already, if you've been listening to our previous episodes, me and E-Man usually leave episodes with some predictions or who we believe is going to win their respective series. Obviously, we had the West conclude their series pretty quickly for the most part, besides the Minnesota and San Antonio series that actually went 6, but it could have ended much earlier than that. So, as we all know, San Antonio versus the Thunder, San Antonio Spurs versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Game 3 is tonight, as we're before we record tonight. The Thunder took care of business against your Lakers in 4. I did not expect that. I know you said you had a hard time believing they could make it a series. Yeah, I had hope for the LeBron-led Lakers, but I was wrong, of course. And then San Antonio, like I mentioned, ended their series in 6. That was my prediction, was Minnesota would win that series in 7. I was wrong. So I was wrong in the West. I admit that. But quickly, how'd you feel about how those series ended? And, what do you think those two teams that lost their series need to do to make it back into this position again?
Well, first with the Lakers, and like I said, it's a foregone conclusion to me they were going to lose, especially when they got swept in the season series and lost by an average of 30 points a game. With Luka being down going into the playoffs, I'm like, we'll be lucky to win a game, the Lakers, that they do, and they couldn't pull it off. I think on the Lakers side, they got to look to revamp that roster. I know they waiting on getting a word from Braun on what he wants to do in terms of taking somewhat of a pay cut, maybe not vet minimum. I saw the report come out that he's not looking to take vet minimum, and I don't blame him. But at the same time, they can't pay him like $50 million a year. They got to get him. They got to reduce his salary to a certain extent to help the team get more athletic on the perimeter. Maybe even, especially at the center position, to have a big that can roam the paint and catch a lot from Luka, a la like what they had in Dallas with Lively and Gafford and everything. So they got to get some 3-and-D guys there and some shooters. Maybe either said they're done. Probably got to make a decision on Reeves too. I'm not the believer of having two of your best players being atrocious on defense, which that would be the case if they sign Reeves to an extension. They already got Luka locked up. So I personally don't like it. I know Reeves deserves to get his money, but I just hate paying two minus defenders big time money. So they may have to consider that. What do they want to do with Austin Reeves? I mean, like I said, he's worth the money he's going to command on the market, but I just don't like paying two perimeter players who are lackluster on the defensive side of the ball. So get younger, more athletic, surround Luka with athletes like that Nico did down in Dallas. And for the Wolves, they're in a tough spot with their cap situation right now, all the money they got tied up with Gobert, who he did a good job against Nikola in the first round, but was a mismatch against Wemby and everything, and he would have had trouble. He would have got exposed against OKC if they were able to advance. They got to do something there. And DeSumo is going to make him they'll become an 8 team if they sign him. So that's going to be tough. DiVincenzo getting injured, going to be basically all next season. That's a big hit blow to them because it gives them less flexibility in what they want to do, whether they want to keep him or use him in as a trade piece. So I don't know what they want to do, but they're gonna. I see reports that they are looking. They are fearful that Ant-Man will elect to like ask for a trade in the near future, and they want to prevent that. So I think I seen too that Ant-Man's trying to push it behind the scenes and then to try to pursue Kyrie.
Hmm.
Yeah, it'll make you better, but at the end of the day, you're not beating San Antonio or OKC as Kyrie as you're getting Kyrie added to the squad. I just don't see how it's going to happen. I think every team in the West is going to be looking up at OKC and San Antonio for the next 5-7 years. So they do really like got to build a team designed on to match up with them to your best ability. And I don't think that that's going to work with just Kyrie. But again, they're limited, so they got to do something there. I thought, well, no, I did think that Denver was going to. I'm sorry, I thought that the Spurs were going to win that series against Minnesota because originally I had Denver getting past them, then beating the Spurs in the second round. So I just thought that it looked like that was going to be their time to get, despite their youth and everything, the San Antonio Spurs, they're going to at least get to the conference finals after they were able to, after Denver failed to advance in the playoffs.
Yeah, everything you said is making a lot of sense. I think the Lakers definitely need to reevaluate or just scrap a lot of what they have there. I think keeping Marcus Smart makes a lot of sense for them. Not a
Yes,
long
this is
term.
crucial.
I would think he and Luca may play well together. I think you leave it up to LeBron what he wants to do. I wouldn't pay him 50 million, but I mean, I don't blame him to getting paid. He is an attraction on his own. Like he shouldn't. He doesn't carry himself like a vet minimum player. I think people get this wrong idea like players should take less money just for the sake of winning. Like, how about the franchise figure out how to put the right pieces around the money makers? There's smart ways to do that instead of like going all out and spending money on each and every player on your starting five. You could find pieces that work, but you got to give up the assets. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about the business side of the NBA. Even though fans want to do the best they can to know all about the tax and the aprons and this and that, we don't really know. There's ways to make things happen, but we don't really know. We just speculating just like anybody else will. But these guys they've been punching the numbers for 5 years before the year came up. They're 5 years ahead of us. We're just now keep catching up. They been know what they're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the money side of things. So I think teams like I mean the Lakers have an ownership that's willing to spend money anyway. So if they get to a point where they're worried about the apron conversation and attacks, they're more than willing to take that chance. You know what I'm saying? Minnesota has new ownership now with A-Rod and his group, and I'm sure they'll figure something out there too. Because there was already rumors about Giannis going there. There was now the rumors of Kyrie, and there was also rumors of John Morant. So they're gonna do what they can to appease to Ant's request, or better yet, how he left pretty much shows you what it is. Like he's a competitor. Some people took it the wrong. I mean, some people took it a certain way when he, congratulated um San Antonio like 8 minutes into the 8 minutes left in the fourth. And it is what this modern day NBA, you can't expect these guys to walk away from a team, or better yet, not do those type of things. It's expected now, but he's the ultimate competitor, and obviously he stated like they're not a championship roster. So, and they don't carry themselves as such. So that's probably something that's going to change soon. And hopefully they keep Chris Finch, but that's kind of when your star player starts making certain comments, the coach ends up being the scapegoat in those scenarios sometimes. Example, Mike Malone. We saw that happen with him in Denver. But yeah, everything you said was true. We see either way, we can't complain. We got two of the best teams in the West, anyways, going going at it.
The best teams in the league.
Right, I agree. And for those who don't know, it's a 1-1 series right now. Game three's tonight. And the series started back on Sunday, I believe, or Monday. Yeah, Monday. It started on Monday, and they're playing every
Monday.
other night. So that concluded there. In the East, obviously, we got the outcome of the East. The Knicks swept the Sixers. I didn't expect a sweep. I did expect a competitive series because of the matchup, but clearly Philly was not. They spent all their VC. If you play 2K, they've spent all their VC on the Celtics to beat them in seven. So they were spent by the time they got to the Knicks, and it was a wrap. And then the Cavs, as I predicted, and I think you predicted the same thing. They went 7. against in their series against Detroit. And I think you picked Detroit to win. I picked Cavs to win that series.
I'm pretty sure I picked Detroit one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you what I think both those two teams need to do. I mean, for Philly, it's not really much to it. They need to figure out whether they want to continue this Embiid project that's since then expired, in my opinion. Um, it's gonna be hard for them to offload, Paul George's contract. You have VJ Edgecombe and Maxi. Those are your future. Those are your now. You have to build around that. To have two-way guards like them, in a sense, I wouldn't say Maxi's much of a two-way guard, but to have two guards like those guys who are mesh well together and are young and they pick up the pace pretty well. Now you have to consider building around those two kids. So Philly's situation is much different than what the Pistons have to deal with because Philly now have they're going to be looking at a new GM. Nick Nurse will at least make it into the next season. Who knows if he'll complete that season? So the Sixers just have a lot of work to do in a weak conference anyway. So who knows? They might be in this position again next year without even have to doing a lot. But I can't see Embiid lasting in Philly for another full calendar year. I could see him getting traded before the season starts or midway through the season. And if some team is willing to take Paul George's contract and waive him afterwards, there's a likelihood of that. There's some opportunities for Philly. They just have a lot of moving parts to figure out with them. As far as
Yeah.
go ahead.
Like I say, you just talk about you see them trading Embiid. I don't know how they're going to do that because the big reason why Daryl Moore is no longer the GM of Philly is because he did elect to give Embiid a 3-year extension, which kicks in next season. Who the hell in the league doesn't want to take that on? Knowing his
Yeah,
injury history. I mean, never say never, I guess, in the league, but you're probably going to have to attach a pick to that. If I'm a team and looking at like, take Embiid off your book, I need something in return. Maybe a pick or two. So it's going to be tough, man. That's the worst contract in the league right now. Simply
yeah,
because he's never available. You never know what you're going to get out of him.
I agree.
I hate that deal.
His availability is what kills you because we know he could drop 25-10. We know that. That's not a question in doubt. You're 7 feet. He knows how to use his height. He knows how to shoot. He knows how to defend when the knees are right. Well, are the knees right at all? Like we don't know. And uh, part of it was, we could blame him for his conditioning, but we could also I have to understand like 7-footers are not there's not a lot of 7-footers that could play 10 plus seasons. That's tough. Like there's a lot of wear and tear in those knees and those feet and you know what I'm saying? I was just saying it the other day. We'll be blessed to see Wemby play 10 seasons. And if that's so, I hope it's his best seasons are now coming up. Because that he could catapult in the ranks pretty fast. In the pretty quickly, I should say, in the NBA. Because we saw that with Yao Ming. Like he had a great 10 seasons, and that was all we got. So as far as Pistons go, and I think we spoke about this before, like they just need like a consistent secondary guy to Cade. I think Cade had a great playoffs. I'll be honest. Like I didn't expect him to be that good. He lived up to the hype. There were some games where he struggled because of the turnovers, but that's what comes with the territory. When you're the ball handler, like you're gonna give the ball up. You know what I'm saying? Like especially when you're pressing and you're the only guy who's consistently dropping 20 plus in a series. They need somebody else. Tobias Harris tried. He had a good 3 games within that 7-game series, and then he fell on his face. He became a pumpkin all of a sudden. They couldn't rely on Duncan Robinson to be that replacement shooter that Beasley was last year. Uh, and then luckily for them, they had games from Levert that just came out of nowhere that helped them in the series, that one of the games in the series. And their bench was just not good enough. And it was their strength was the depth and also Jalen Duran just disappeared. He was just a mere image of himself. But I'm starting to realize in this playoffs, a lot of the bigs are not really playing up to par. A lot of the bigs are not really playing. Like even when you watch this Knicks series right now, for those who don't know, the Knicks are up 2-0 in their series versus the Cavs. Cat is not putting up 20 points a game. He ain't like he's not an offensive threat right now. You know what I'm saying? Nor are the two bigs for Cleveland. Those guys have kind of been on the lower end of things throughout the whole playoffs as well. And I mean, Evan Mobley has had Spurs, and Jared Allen had game sevens that were pretty impressive. But other than that, like, I don't know what Detroit's gonna do there. Like, they're gonna have to pay Durant. I believe there's a max extension going on for him there, or he's getting a pay bump due to the possibility of getting an All NBA. But they need somebody to
Asar
go.
Thompson up for an extension too as well.
There you go, and he's gonna be an all
And
defensive.
Asar, who was exposed, who exposed offensively. Yes, he's a great defender, but he got to work on the jump at the summer because you would take so much pressure off Cade if he was able to hit these like open shots. We seen what the Cavs were doing; they was just letting him shoot, and they were
Hmm.
just daring him to shoot, living with the results, and he didn't come through. And they got to make a decision on him if they're gonna extend him this offseason as well. Bright
Yeah,
future, but he got to work on that jumper.
he and his brother
Him
need
and
to
his
go
twin.
into. Yeah, he and his brother need to get the what's his name, lethal shooter.
Talking about that dude because he tweeted it. He tweeted it. He said he wants to work with them. I was done.
They need to get in the lab because those guys are way too talented. They're way too talented defensively or overall. I think they're just very great athletic specimens out there, but they need to know how to shoot at least at the most, get that corner three perfected because that's going to be wide open for them all the time. We've seen it with Hart last night. He gave the Cavs try to treat him like he was a Sar Thompson, and he made them pay. And he even called it out on the analytics, like, "Yo, f your analytics." I just, you know what I'm saying? Analytics didn't phase him whatsoever in that game. So it's like when your role players
Exactly.
could step up in those moments, especially last night when you saw when Brunson was struggling to score, it was the guy last night. So yeah, Detroit just needs to figure out who's going to be that secondary guy. They might have to pull the trigger on a Kawhi trade. They might have to consider an opportunity to get like KD over there if that's even a possibility. I don't know if they could convince LeBron. I don't think that even makes sense. Maybe Austin Reeves would be a good option for them there. I think he fits the build of that team. He's a tough kid. Um, I don't know. We'll see what Detroit ends up doing, but we already know the East series is 2-0 Knicks versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. We have these two series going on. Out of the two series, give me what you think's what the outcome's gonna be now that we know we're 2 games in on both series. What do you see the outcome of the Spurs series and also this series with the Knicks versus the Cavs?
All right. For the Knicks and Cavs, I probably think is gonna. I did pick Cleveland in 6. I was really only doing that because I wanted to stick to my original pick in the preseason once I seen the 14 that were in it. Because originally I did have these teams meeting in the conference finals, and I had the Cavs playing OKC in the finals. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna ride with Cavs in 6, and I was like, nope, big mistake, especially after game one, blowing a 22-point lead with 7 minutes left. That's insane. And James Harden, man, I know he's older now. I think he's 37 years old, probably his 16th, 17th season. But at the same time, it's the same old story in his career. He did not come through in the playoffs, and he has not been good these first 2 games. He wasn't good in game 7 against the Pistons, but they didn't need it. But he was really good that game. And he's just he's looking old right now in this series, and they're just constantly attacking him, taking advantage of him and everything. So I do think right now I would probably lean with New York in. I think the Cats can get a game, one of these Cleveland games, so I'll go Knicks in 5. Whereas Spurs Thunder, man, this is a heavyweight matchup. I think these games have been fantastic, both games 1 and 2 so far. It just sucks that we have all these injuries in this series, and it's most likely going to help contribute to the outcome in the series. But at the same time, I think this is the modern NBA. Game so taxing, and both teams are equipped to deal with losses. I think OKC more than San Antonio because they're deeper, but both teams are versatile, athletic, deep. I think I'm still going with my original pick. I had OKC in 6. Honestly, probably will be 7, but I picked 6. So I think I'll still go. Yeah, I'll stay with my position. OKC in 6.
Okay. Yeah, off cue when I was, off air before we even had a conversation, I did have the Knicks. I'll be honest with you, I had the Knicks in 5. Gentlemen sweep just before they even won the 2 games because it's just you can't tell me the Cavs can even keep up after going through 2 7-game series. 2 7-game series we didn't even need to be in. They should have wrapped it up in 6 against Detroit. But going back to your James Harden's rant, he didn't step up when it mattered there. And then we're talking in the Toronto series. Toronto was depleted. How do you not beat them in 5 or 6?
Yeah.
So you set yourself up. And
Yeah, you're
luckily
right.
for Cleveland, the one thing they got going for them right now that they haven't had in the past is that they're finally healthy for once. They don't have one guy on that roster that has missed a game yet. And keep in mind, a couple years ago when they had the best record, I believe, was it last year? Or last year when they had the best record, Mobley missed time, Jared Allen missed time, you know,
Garland missed time.
Garland missed time, and then of course Mitchell every so often will have an ankle injury, which I think he's playing with right now, anyways. But they're in the moment right now. So, but I do agree with you. I think they'll get one at home. I think it will be Game 3. They owe their fans at least one of these games, because that Game 1, as soon as I saw the way the Game 1 ended, and mind you, I was watching that shit, and I was like, I think the Cavs were down up by 22 with like 7 left. And I sat there and I was watching the man. I was like, man, that's a shame for the Knicks, man. They fell on their face real quick. I think Brunson took it down the court and shot a 3. And then it was like down
Brunson
17 or
burner.
18. And then he went off on his own little run, like 7 or 9-0 run, Brunson. And all I hear is the Madison Square Garden still full of fans too, by the way. Nobody left. They were down by 22, and Brunson just came in the game. I was like, this is not good. And the Cavs just gave it all the way up. Harden was missing free throws, so you know his legs were dead. Donovan Mitchell wasn't getting the ball. The bigs weren't getting involved. They were just thinking about Game 2 already. I feel like the Cavs were like, oh, we're going to Game 2 with up 1-0. We're good. Right. Yeah, you gave up that lead. That means you gave up the series, in my opinion. You don't come back from those kind of, like, this is what the Knicks did to the Celtics last year. They beat the Celtics 2 games in a
Yeah.
row, being down by 20,
Yeah. And they were away when they did that.
and they were away. That's the thing. This Knicks team, I think we'll get to it after the talk about the Western Conference, but I think the one thing, and I know people are not really believing in the Knicks a lot because the East is not that strong, but they
I'm
don't
not.
play. And they don't really like, when I saw them playing that NBA Cup shit. Yeah, the NBA Cup is whatever, this, that, and third, but they were playing a competitive Spurs team in that game. It wasn't like, I mean, Wemby was coming off of the
A
injury and
young
all
Spurs
that.
team, yeah.
Yeah, but they put belt. They got the belt out because they took it seriously. And I think Mike Brown has opened up a can for that team. Like they opened up a can of worms that they didn't know they had. Like they didn't know they had this opportunity to be a different type of team. Brunson didn't really need to do nothing last night. They still won the game. I haven't really been impressed with anything Cat has been doing in his playoffs. They've been winning games. And I remember the last time Bridges had a bad game was that Game 3, and he's been playing
Probably
lights
game
out
2 or
since
3
then.
against Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah, and he's been playing lights
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. A night and day offense between last year with Thibodeau and now with Mike Brown. So I like the fact that they are like way more advanced now into the modern day
Yeah,
NBA
right.
under Mike Brown and everything. I'll give them credit for that. They look really, really good.
Yeah, but
Just
yeah,
don't know if they can realistically beat whoever comes out of the West.
right. So speaking of that,
And
obviously
and, 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 and I think it's because I'm just tired about all this New York Knicks coverage. So annoying. I get it's the biggest media market in the country, but come on, like the Knicks fans will be insufferable if they ever won a championship. I don't want to see it. It's annoying. I haven't been in NY like that, and I get annoyed seeing everything I see on Twitter and everything, and Stephen A. being a fanboy on TV. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this.
I'll be honest with you, bro. I love watching them react to their fucking wins, man. It reminds me of how Boston Celtics fans used to be. They used to be just that same type of fanatics. They're just too cool for school now, or they think everything's just peachy. You know what I'm saying? They never feel any type of anxiety no more. They're like, oh, well, we'll figure it out next year. Brad's he's the doctor. He knows how to figure it out and get us, and he knows how to fleece everybody and get these guys. We have the Jays, and we just feel so happy and go lucky. The Knicks fans are so desperate, bro. They'll break into a building and jump on the roof and go crazy after one win. They don't care. because they just love their team. You know what I'm saying? I love the passion. They are annoying. Don't get me wrong. Northeast fan bases are annoying to begin with. So as long as I don't think they're gonna win the finals, but I wouldn't be mad if they. I wouldn't be mad if they did. I think it's good for basketball. I think it's good for the NBA, in my opinion.
Well, them getting to the finals alone is good for basketball because they're going
Yeah.
to do great, crazy numbers. No matter who they play in the
Mhm.
East, in the West, New York, again, the biggest media market, it's going to do insane numbers. The league
Right.
wants that.
Yeah, the league definitely wants that because, for one, for those who don't know, Oklahoma City and San Antonio are not considered a big market. They're considered more of a small or medium market. That's why the finals last year wasn't like everybody's favorite finals because we were talking about, even though Indiana is actually a big market, that's a basketball city. That's a basketball
But it's
is
a
like
small media market. But yes, it's a basketball city.
yeah, it's a basketball city, but a small media market. But and OKC has not really ever been a big media market. That's why they're very like, they go under the radar with everything they do over there. So speaking of OKC, we already won one in that series. Who you got in that series now that we're tied up at going into game three?
I mentioned that. I still got OKC in 6.
Oh yeah, you did mention that. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Uh,
Oh, you're good. That's okay.
yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I got them in 6 or 7. I know a lot of folks, and I want your input on this as well, but I know a lot of folks after game one watching Wemby go 40 for 20, 41 points, 20 rebounds, and so on. And it went to double overtime. He hit the clutch three to bring it, get that second overtime brewed up. Or was it the end, close to the end of regulation or something like that? Hit that clutch three from the logo, a la Steph
Same spot
Curry.
as Steph 10 years ago.
Like, you can't make this up,
Same
man.
building. It's crazy.
Can't make it up, man. Like, clearly a playoff moment. I don't care what anybody says. I know a lot of people are getting a little annoyed about the glazing of Wembanyama.
I'm one of them.
It's okay to enjoy the moment. I must say that. But it's not like we never seen a crazy good big man ever. Like, you and I grew up in the time where we watched Shaq dominate 3 consecutive playoffs in a row. And nobody had an answer for the most dominant force in basketball. Okay. So we know what that looks like, but we also have to understand, like, this generation of fans now that only do they get attracted by clickbait, TikToks, reels. They're the ones that are driving the bus in social media of excitement. So it is what it is. We have to understand that. We have to appreciate that because I think the NBA needs those young fans anyways. They're starting to pick back up as far as their fandom. But I also like I do have a question for you though. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, congratulations to SGA. I know you're a big fan of his game. Congratulations to
Big
him
facts.
for back-to-back MVPs, right? And for me, I don't feel no type of way, bro. Like, I get it, man. I see people making so many comments every day, especially in that group that we're on Facebook. Every freaking
Yeah.
day, someone's complaining about the man. I'm so happy. When we were growing up, there was no social media during AI's ascending, when he was ascending as a superstar, or when Kobe and Shaq, when they got swept in '98, nobody was around to talk about that in social media. There was no social media then before they went on their three-peat. Uh, no, there was no social media when Jordan was trying to come back from a second retirement. Nobody had to talk about that every day. There was no social media when Tracy McGrady wasn't winning any playoff games, but he was playing MVP ball, but never won an MVP. Like, all these little things people want to complain about, and it's like, I'm so happy we didn't have to deal with that back then because it was never a thing. Maybe it was talked about in the papers. Don't get me wrong. It was probably talked about in the papers.
Sure it was. Oh, radio.
Right, in radio, and when ESPN was actually doing primarily just sports talking, sports chattery, they maybe spoke on those things. And I know they didn't speak about Kobe's ups and downs, Shaq's ups and downs, splitting them up, all that stuff, or AI drama, or you name it, like all those things. But like, where is this coming? Why are people so fixated? Is it because the microscope is on Alexandra right now, who are so fixated on his um his flaws, which you could consider those flaws, but to me, I think it's just typical manipulation of the game, which most superstars have done throughout their careers. Like, what is it now? I'm trying to understand that.
I think it's like this the clip TikTok era. We see it like a 25-second clip go viral. People always chime in, and you know the game's messed up when you got like Pat McAfee citing Brick Center on his show. Like, oh Lord, here we go. You mean that troll page? You're gonna cite that? Anybody who retweets those type of pages, I don't take you seriously about hoops. I just don't.
Mhm.
Like, I never would. So yeah, I think it's just the era we're living in. Because I'm sure Mike will get scrutiny. Not saying, I'm not talking about for like foul being anything, but there will be some scrutiny towards Mike's game, or if he like failed in certain moments, or like didn't come through in the clutch. Because it'd be going around if he was to play in this social media era, or if that existed like in the 80s and 90s when he thrived and everything. People were always trying to find a way to nitpick, and I think people just like negativity, like that guy from Yahoo Sports. Like I think Tim Happstraw is his name, when he just posted to today his article, or did a deep dive on like how many times SGA falls to the floor throughout these
Yeah, I
playoffs
seen
compared
that.
to other
Yeah.
players, the percentage and everything. And then Bleach Report picks it up, and now I think Colin Cowherd picked it up, and other like, oh, here we go. Yeah, y'all are bored. Y'all are really, really bored.
Talk
I
about
think
it.
it's just he's just boring. People don't like his game, so they get nitpick. He's not the most. I mean, I love his game because I'm a basketball. I'm not a casual. I love the footwork. I love the he's able to get the angles right and just go by you, use his body like crazy and everything to
Mhm,
score.
mhm.
But a lot of people don't like that. They like the flashiness, the highlights, reels, jumping the vertical game, which doesn't have. So people like nitpick. I say I have like Broussard, like trying to compare him like a Tim Duncan, which is crazy. I get what he's trying to say, but that's kind of crazy at the same time. Because Duncan, I think his game, while he is an all-time great, probably top 10 of all time, his game is
Mhm.
quote unquote boring. I think SGA has more style to his game, but that's what these are the stuff that these people put out there, and then people just want to run with it and everything. Hey man, Shea's resume speaks for itself. Two-time MVP, may possibly be a two-time champion, a two-time final MVP in the next month or so. So I don't know to tell people. They missing out on good basketball. Yeah, and like this series right here is, like I said, it's been amazing so far. Like this can go down as like an all-time series. I think it's the first time it said since 2018 that the Western Conference Finals has been one game apiece through two games, which is insane.
And
So
also
the last
both
time it was
teams.
one game apiece was against the Warriors and the Rockets.
Right, and it's also two teams that are 60 have 60 plus wins, which is not a common in the NBA. We've seen instances when
First
it's
team
happened.
since 62 plus wins since the 98 finals, Bulls and Jazz.
That's which
Insane.
is which
So
is
yeah,
crazy
I'm just
because
loving
nobody.
the hoops, man.
Yeah, nobody realizes that. That was oh, but wait, Jordan played a bunch of bums. I get it. Yeah, you're right. He played the MVP of the league who had 60 something wins. But you got that. But anyways, I agree with you. Like if you're I know what you're saying too, like you're not a casual. There's people who are not casual saying the same shit. And I'm like, yo, are y'all piggybacking off of things because you feel some type of way because your favorite player is not getting the recognition because they're playing the game the right way? I don't think any basketball player who's a superstar in the league is playing the game the right way. If you put them on a one-on-one situation, they're calling fouls on everything you do. So what are you talking about? We all played one-on-one. We all played three-on-threes. You always have that one guy who's actually pretty good at the game, who knows the game of basketball in the back from as easy as anybody else, knows how to manipulate the game by calling any kind of fouls in any type of moment. So let's not act like just because you saw SGA doing it, oh, he's foul baiting every game. I've watched Thunder games. Some people don't. Some of y'all don't watch a lot of Thunder games because you only watch regional sports. That's fine. But don't be talking out your mouth just because you watch a couple clips somebody clipped up for you about him falling. Like, yeah, he's gonna fall and he's gonna find a way to get you out the game. I remember watching Kobe doing the same thing. When the player pump fakes, you know what he's trying to do? He wants you to jump. So he could jump right into you. You know what I'm saying? That's how you're supposed to do it. Like you're supposed to get the call. Because it's not like it used to be back in the day. There's no hand checking. Usually centers lead the league in getting fouled, but not a lot of centers are in the paint no more. They're shooting threes. So guess who's going to the paint? The shooting guard, the point guard, the small wing. They're going in the paint. They're forcing the situation. Your job as a offensive player is to initiate contact as best you can. Now you trying to like nobody's trying to play to bat to no one's trying to be a ballerina on the basketball court, evading contact. No, they're trying to absorb the contact, get the and one, and that's it. Now, some people are going to exaggerate. That's just what it is. Every sport has an exaggeration in all sorts. We're seeing quarterbacks flopping to get bad calls across the sports. Excuse me. We're seeing soccer players flopping, hockey players are flopping, basketball players are flopping. What are we complaining about? Everybody flops in a sense until the leagues themselves initiate a ruling that eliminates that completely or penalizes them heavily, they're gonna do it. And again, and you can't even stop it. As much as people saying like this is bad for the game, I don't like it. How is it bad for the game? They just broke. Didn't they just put a report about the highest viewed game one in a freaking Western Conference Finals? And they're probably gonna break even more
And
records.
it's actually up, and yeah, game two is actually 10 million, so the highest game two ever across NBC and Peacock, average 10 million viewers. So
But
game two.
it's ruining the game we love, man. It's ruining the game we love. Watching, they just, land on somebody's foot and fall. I guess it's all his fault. You know what I'm saying? The game is over.
I mean, in that case, he's also trying to protect himself. You'd rather fall than come down awkwardly in your ankle, get a sprained ankle, and be out for like the rest of the series. So you would want
Exactly.
to like fall to protect yourself. But people
Exactly.
don't think.
And what's funny is the same people complaining about him complain about Wemby falling too. So you can't win. You can't freaking win. There's no winning here. Everybody's complaining about something because it's not their boy. It's not their boy not getting the recognition because they're playing the game the right way. I ain't trying to hear any of that. That's just ridiculous. With that being said, I want to end the episode to talk about what we do, kind of, sort of, for the like. We know that we have NBA players or just players of all sports that are uh, really have their own podcast or streaming platform to talk about and control their own narratives. I myself personally, if I've always said I love to see Draymond on the pod. I like seeing that Paul George until people ran him off of his pod. I like seeing that he did that too. I'm not a
Wait,
I'm
what
not
do you mean,
against.
random other party? We don't have it no more?
Oh, he has it. I'm just saying, like, people were making a big deal about it because he was potted during the season. They're like, man, put that podcast away and focus on your game. I was like, I don't think it's a big deal. He's got free time. Let him do what he does. Like some people go on the internet, like Kevin Durant, and have ghost accounts or fake accounts. Some others like to go on a podcast and talk about basketball. Let it be. I'm not against any of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not against the players being on streaming platforms or podcasts. But the reason I'm bringing this up, and I know it's like weeks ago when Jaylen Brown went on there after less than 24 hours from a playoff loss and just ranted about the refs and the refs have an agenda and then, talking about this is his favorite season to date, even though he won a championship and was finals MVP. I understand what he's doing. He's trying to control his narrative. He knows who he is. He's a very outspoken person. He's a smart individual. I don't take none of that away from him. I actually love Jaylen Brown as a player. I like him as an individual. I actually loved this season as well for him and for the Celtics because it just showcased that he is one of the best players in the league because he was able to, control that boat throughout the season, the regular season. But obviously, for a lot of people, they weren't feeling that. And I personally was not feeling that he was going on a rant once again about that, the whole referee stuff. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, let yourself decompress in a different way after going 7 games, which you never should have went 7 games. There was better ways for him to go through that. Like, he could have took a few days and then get interviewed or go on his stream and talk about unfortunately we lost the series. I'll take accountability. There was moments where I thought I should have never got called on a foul, but I feel like I was, getting called out. So I need to figure out a better way to perfect my game. You know what I'm saying? Leadership talk. The man sounded like he was complaining. It sounded like to me, it's just like you know, you're at work, you took a longer break than usual, and then your manager calls you out, and then you feel some type of way. And it's like, yo, you should have never took that long in your break. So why you mad at your manager? You feel me? And then now you go on social media like, yo, fuck my manager, man. You talking all that shit, like blah, blah, blah. Like my manager is an asshole. And everybody's backing you up, like, yeah, yeah, those managers don't know what they're talking about, what they're doing, da, da, da. But they don't know why they don't know you were wrong the whole time. You know what I'm saying? But that's what he's doing. He's doing a good job. He's getting the right people on his side to back him up. So boom, he did that. He got scrutinized by the national media as he should have. Even local media got on his back for that. Boom. Mans came back on the live and said, fuck Stephen A. Smith. And then he started crashing out again. And that right there for me was like, okay, I'm okay with you controlling your narrative because I personally like my podcast because like what we do is that we talk about basketball, we talk about sports, we talk about things that matter. We're not here to gossip. I'm not talking about Mike Vrabels. I'm not talking about this, that, and the third. I don't need to talk about that stuff. That shit don't matter. But my thing is this: if you're gonna control your narrative, you need to know how to control yourself while you're giving the narratives that you want them to hear. So obviously Stephen A. Smith spoke back about it and all that good stuff. But being that we're both kind of in this platform in a lower level, obviously, like we're not, I'm not
Clearly.
monetized. I'm not monetized. You're not monetized just yet. But we do this out of the love of it. And he's doing it out of the love of it too. Like if you were in his camp or outside looking in, what would you tell him? Like, how do you feel about being that you're not a Celtics fan, obviously, and you're just a basketball fan and you see this? What is in your mind when you hear and you see him doing this stuff?
All right. So initially, I thought I was on. I don't know why like Stephen A. and Perk got so much flack when they were like, "Yo, like that was a bad look." This is like not like what, maybe 24 hours. Wait, no, I think 48 hours. No, that was 24 hours. I think right. Wasn't the day after they lost the series? They went on his Twitch.
It was the
I think it was
next
the day after.
night. Yep, the next night.
Yeah. Okay, so 24 hours after losing a 3-1 lead, first time ever in Celtic history, you go on to complain about all the flopping and that's going on in the league. You swear the refs got it out for you. Then you proclaim that you say that this past season was your favorite season, as opposed to when you won a championship and when you won the Finals MVP. Oh, and by the way, Jason Tatum, who is viewed by many as the best player, or you could say the co-star, or whatever, was virtually unavailable for the majority of the season. So of course it's going to cause some red flags, and people are going to look at it funny, like, why would you even go about doing that? I have no problem with you feeling that way. I don't think you should be saying it out loud. There's something that I better left said. Well, there are some things better left unsaid, rather, and that was one of them. So I don't understand why Stephen A. Smith and Perkle cut so much flack. Like, I think that's common sense. I agree with them 100%. He shouldn't have did that. And in terms of him like going back and forth with Stephen A., it's funny. It's just like new media versus versus legacy media. And it's kind of funny to me because man, Stephen A. was like his biggest cheerleader all season. He was like one of the few people who say he should be consideration or he is a league MVP. Or there was a time when he got ejected against that Spurs game during the season, and Stephen A. was tight because, oh my God, how can you eject a star like that in Jaylen Brown, like in the second quarter when you have MVP was like on the line of like who was going to be number one at that point in the season. So I don't know. He's really campaigning for him hard. Him and Perk, I think. Yeah, him and Perk were campaigning
Yeah,
for
they
Jaylen
were.
Brown hard
Yep.
this year. And he did have a hell of a season. They were like, what, 56 wins? People thought they'd probably be at 48 without Tatum and everything. You do that, second best record in the Eastern Conference. But at the same time, I just thought that his like comments, I'm not saying it was like foul or anything like that. It just wasn't the best in the set and everything. And it comes off kind of like you're making excuses when it comes to the whole down 3-1, blowing the 3-1 lead part, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I love JB like for what he's done for the like I can't speak on the city because I don't go in depth and look into exactly what he's doing. I'm taking his word for it. So I know he's really big on the community. And I'm not taking that away from Jason Tatum either. He's big on the community as well, but he's more commercialized, he's more national. in a sense. He probably would do more for St. Louis than he would do for Boston, in my opinion. But yeah, his comments didn't. Instead of doubling down, he should have clarified a little bit more, which he tried to. Like he said, reason why it's my favorite season is because I was able to see a lot of my teammates elevate their game and me being the catalyst to that elevation to the game. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't sound right, especially when a lot of these fans, especially a lot of Boston fans, especially those who are considered the green teamers, they would rather never see these guys leave but grow old together. And they've been fighting hard for y'all to stay together, but yet you're doing everything in your power to sound like like you were the you do well as the head of the game, the head of the team, I should say. And of course, like they call you out. Where's Tatum on on your stream? He ain't dead. So they're calling you out because they don't believe that you guys have this somewhat of a tight bond. So it doesn't look good. It look good when you try to prove a point and your points are is not being seen. Like they can't confirm it. They're only seeing you crashing out online. And then I think it was out of line for him to say F Stephen A. I know how he feels. Like I'm not a big Stephen A guy, but like you said, Stephen A and Perk, they went out their way to support you all season. They were expecting you to get maybe even the MVP at one point. I'm sure of it. Because in matter of fact, I think Stephen A said the Knicks had no chance against the Celtics. Why? Because he knows how good the Celtics were with you and Tatum. That's a compliment. That's his team. So it's like I think he just didn't process these things. I think he's still going through it when it comes to the loss because I'm a sore loser. I'm sure he's obviously a sore loser, right? He just doesn't. He's not processing it the right way, and we don't. It would be wrong for us to tell somebody how to process a loss because everybody takes it a different way. But I think the fact that he went on a second round of ranting, and on top of that, you're still doubling down on what you said. It doesn't make sense. You're not going on the radio talking to nobody. You're not going on, any talk shows to talk about it. You're not a guest on somebody's pod. None of that. You're going on your stream, talking about your shit and building up your own narrative. And now you're sounding a little selfish to everybody else. So it's not, you can't be mad at how people perceive it. You have to understand how the context is out of pocket. Just the same way as you don't want somebody to build some type of context on you, you shouldn't build the context on yourself to make it sound a certain type of way. It's not. I think he just has to understand that. I mean, he's still young. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Brown's a young guy. He's building up his own thing with the streaming thing. That's his new venture, I believe. He has his own brand, and this is how he is. So, but I did warn people. I did warn the Celtics nation. If you didn't like Kyrie,
Which one of them up?
if you didn't like Kyrie for his demonstrative ways, Jalen Brown is not that far behind. He is just about the same.
Different though, simply because Jalen Brown is homegrown, has been there his whole career. A little different
well,
in that aspect, at least.
in that aspect, that's different. But in totality, about how they stand for what they stand for and the
Yeah,
direction they move in. I'm pretty certain when Kyrie was there, besides Tatum being a very close friend of Kyrie too, because of being Duke Blue Devils,
Duke. Yeah,
I'm sure Jalen Brown felt a lot of influence from Kyrie because they speak the same language in a sense with a lot of things. I hope he continues doing his streams, and I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at him recapping the game 7. That's fine. Talk about it. Talk about the game 7. Talk about why you didn't pass to Nemus. That's okay. But don't go out. Do not take accountability. You've been taking accountability in front of reporters. Don't just wait till you get home and not take that accountability all of a sudden. Like you should. You're a professional basketball player. This is what comes with the territory. You just got to take it. Take it as it is and move on, man. Go on vacation, dog. Go find what's her name? Who's that shorty he been around lately? Monet. Go
the
with
Hooper.
no. What's her name? Monet. Victoria Monet. Go find you Victoria Monet. Go back
Oh, yeah.
over there and dance with her again, man. She came to the game. Go find your shorty, man. Like, do your thing, dog. I know him. I know him how he sees. I see how it is, how he moving. He likes to have the fine thing by him. So Go find you a fine little thing, man. Go on vacation, dog. You know what I'm saying? Go do some summer classes. I know you love the books. Go do some summer classes and get an MBA or something. Maybe you need some time off from talking basketball, looking at basketball for right now. But I just wanted to address that because we didn't talk about it last podcast, but obviously he came back with more shenanigans since then. Other than that, do you have any last words, my friend?
Nah, just really excited for Game 3, man. Tonight it was a kickoff in about at 8:30, so about like 40 minutes. Can't wait. One of the best series I've seen in a long time.
Who you got winning?
Probably OKC
You got OKC.
tonight. Then I think the Spurs are gonna knot it up on Sunday.
Yeah. I could see OKC winning only because they know how to play without Jalen Williams in the lineup since he's out with the hammy again. And I think AJ Mitchell is a little bit. Don't get me wrong. I think Jalen Williams is the better defender and he's the better player. But AJ Mitchell obviously has stepped up a
Yeah.
lot. But I don't know if Dylan Hopper has been elevated to in. I'll double check that right now.
Last time I checked, he was questionable. Him and Fox were questionable for tonight. I can't imagine Fox playing, man. A high ankle sprain, that's 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, if you try to play, I feel like you're going to be reduced and it's going to be visible, like not that far into the game that you're just not really ready to play.
So
But I
five
get it.
minutes
It's the
ago,
playoffs. You want to be there for your team.
yeah, 5 minutes ago,
They are
Shams
both cleared to
announced that.
play tonight. Look at it right now.
Yep, they're both available to play tonight. So that's advantage Spurs in a sense as far as availability, but we'll see how long those two can actually play. Because mind you, Dylan Harper is Fox's backup, and Fox is the starter. So I don't know who's going to be starting or how that the minutes are going to look for that. So their
Yeah.
availability is still going to play a part tonight as well. I also, but I agree with you. I got the Thunder winning because it was a rusty. The game one was a rust game for them, and just like how the Knicks came off pretty slow and they exploded in the fourth going into that overtime. I think the OKC Thunder did the same thing, but that Wemby three was the biggest game changer in that game one because if without that three, we're talking about OKC being up 2-0 right now. So, but yeah, I can see OKC winning this game and game four, the Spurs just a sense of urgency will kick in, and if those two gentlemen can come off of game three unscathed, their minutes will go up a little bit more and they'll step up and win this game. But again, plug everybody in with what you're doing or what you got going on for the foreseeable future and where to find you.
Sure, yeah. So you can find me on IG, Mr. Vincent 13. I also got the Mr. Vincent podcasts as well. The Mr. Vincent Pod is the IG page for the podcast. If you ever need a photo booth or a 360 photo booth, Mr. Vincent's Party Supplies, we got you. It's lit. You know what I'm saying? Cookouts, graduation. We're taking bookings right now, so that'd be great. If you need it, we got you.
Oh yeah, so make sure y'all lock in and check my man's out for anything you need as far as for the rest of the summer. You also dropped the podcast recently as well, talking about the NBA playoff for this round as well. So check in with my man's. But until next time, thank you, my brother. We'll chop it up before the NBA finals.
Yes, sir, my guy. You ready?
All right.